Sounds ready. All right, I like it. This first comedian, he's going to tell us stories from all over the road. Give it up for Super Trucker Tim!
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Whew, you know what's that? It's getting to be that spooky time of year. Everybody ready for that?
Yeah.
You know, people are putting out all kinds of figurines and stuff of decayed bodies, monsters, witches, and clowns outside their front yard. You know, and the clowns belong there. I don't care what anybody says. You know, my buddy says to me, "Dude, what's so scary about clowns?" It's like, dude, are you kidding me? Have you heard the joke? It's not there for a reason. There was a clown and a little boy walking through the woods, and the boy says to the clown, "I'm scared." And the clown says, "You're scared. I gotta walk out of here alone." Hey, you know, I'm not a big fan of clowns, guys. I'll take a witch over a clown any day. Because a witch is gonna do weird sexual things to you before she kills you, and a clown is going to do weird sexual things to you before he kills you. So maybe they are pretty much the same. But every clown to me is a John Wayne Gacy, guys. I hate clowns. But, you know, spooky, believe it or not, is just another day on the job if you're a trucker. And I'll give you an example. So I'm on this road back behind Woodburn, kind of between Woodburn and Molalla, right? And I see this rusted out van, pedo van, and there's these marks on it, or a sign on it that says "cute kittens" and an arrow pointing around the back, right? Now, guys, I'm a half Irish Jew from the projects with no dad, so I tend to be a little untrusting at times, but the guy inside that van isn't counting on me. He's counting on the person who's gonna come inside the van and still ask where the kittens are as the guy's getting his power tools out. You know, so I don't go for stuff like that, but that's just scratching the surface, guys. What was really scary, now this one really scared me. I had to do a delivery out on a remote island in the Puget Sound up in Washington. Now, I've seen movies, guys, about these islands already, so I'm already nervous. So the ferry comes up to the island, and the ferryman looks at me and he says, "Hey, make sure you're back here within 25 minutes, because if you're not, the next ferry may or may not come around in 4 hours. It depends on if there's enough people coming out here." So I'm like, oh God. Okay, so I pull my truck off and I go up the main drag, and it's the most beautiful landscaping I've ever seen. Music playing in the streets and nobody around, not one person. I felt like I was in a Stephen King novel already. So I walk into this little remote fish place, and there's 6 people in there talking. They all stop talking and they look at me, frozen. They're doing nothing but staring at me, so I slowly back out. Yeah, no. No, I back out of the fish place, and I go back in my truck, and I'm thinking, Tim, your imagination's running wild. You've seen too many movies. We're on these remote islands. The whole society, the whole group of people here are looking for a guy to terrorize, give him false hope, and then sacrifice him to a bloodthirsty pagan god at the end. You've been watching too many movies. That's not what's going to happen. I'm going to call my wife and calm down. So I go to call my wife. There's 0 cell service. I look up, and there's a guy on each end of the street staring right at me, and I'm like, oh, I'm in the movie. God dang it. So at that point, I'm scared, right, guys? And so I'm thinking, man, you know what? I got to throw these guys a curveball. What if I walked up to them and said, "Hey, you know what, guys? If today works for you, it works for me." Then they'd be like, "What do you mean?" I say, "Guys, I got a teenage daughter at a job that causes me so much stress. If you guys need a sacrifice, you can call me a self-sacrifice." It works, right? I'm looking forward to not having to get in that truck tomorrow. That's how bad my life is, right? So when you guys, now I'm going to sell it to them. I'm not going to tell them that when they start cooking me, that my life has been such a letdown, they're going to taste disappointment in the meat. I'm not telling them that, right? I'm going to sell this. Guys, for a 50-year-old guy, I've got a heck of a booty. You can pull some pretty good steaks out of this. Come on. I'm trying to sell it. And they're just like, yeah, we're not buying it. You're just a pot-bellied, balding old guy. Yeah, you're not a suitable sacrifice. Not only would they send me out, they run me off the island. Besides let me go. But that's it, guys. Thanks a lot.
I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts, man.
Yeah, get it up for Super Trucker Tim. Hell yeah, he's got that booty. That's what the super comes from. Yeah, it's in the booty.
So the rest of the story, guys, is I ran out of time. Here's the rest of the story. A 50-year-old overweight trucker with a receding hairline. That's the best sacrifice we have to our bloodthirsty pagan god. He's going to feel he's gypped. He's going to send it back to the kitchen. And I'll say, hey, you guys, don't listen to the altar attendant over there. Don't listen to that guy. I taste like beef jerky and Mountain Dew. This is going to be good meat. It's good quality meat. It's older, probably a little stringy, but it's good quality. It's like FDA choice. Don't listen to that guy. But in the end, guys, not only would they have let me go, they would have run me off the island. But that's okay. That's okay. So then a lot of the guys, a lot of the pagans there on the island looked at each other and said, do you remember in 2016? Now that was a sacrifice. Wasn't he an Olympian? Memorable. So guys, the only thing you can do when you're surrounded by a community of people who want to sacrifice you on a remote island is keep calm and drive on. I went out to some of the islands in the Puget Sound delivering, and some of them are kind of out there islands off the main chart, off the map a little bit. They're almost like private islands. I go out there, I don't even remember the name of this island the ferry dropped me off on, but there wasn't very many people on it. And I was the only semi-truck. So I come off, and the only thing I remember, it was the most beautiful landscaping I had ever seen. The buildings were beautiful. There was music playing and not one person around. It felt just like a Stephen King movie, right? So I go in looking for directions. I see this little kind of fish and chips place. So I open the door and look in, and there's like 6 people, and they all stare at me, and there's this silence, very uncomfortable silence. And they just stared at me. Nobody said hello. They just looked. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to ease on out of here. And so I just eased on out of there, guys. And so I had an experience just like that in an obscure desert community way out in Northern California, past Alturas, out in the desert. And, I mean, way 70 miles past it, way out there, and everything was abandoned. It looked like Children of the Corn. There was like a burger joint and a bowling alley and church and some other buildings. They were all abandoned. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm nobody's sacrifice, guys. If this place was taken over by devil worshippers, I'm going to be a lousy sacrifice. I mean, I've got a nice booty for a 50-year-old man, so you could probably pull a few nice steaks out of that, but that's about it. If you're cannibalistic devil worshippers. But anyhow, guys, I end up going, find my destination, get there, and there's this lady, and she's looking at me like she wants to prison shank me or slash my throat for a nickel and give me change as I'm unloading the truck. And she's talking to the plants as I'm offloading the plants, and just looking at me like she wanted to kill me. Well, I'm a pretty charming guy, guys, so I just kind of BS with her. I've got a doctorate's degree in BSing, so I warmed her up, and she comes right up to me and looks me dead in the eye and says, people come out here because we don't like people. But I like you. So I want you to tell your supervisors, don't send anybody else out here but you. I said, I'm thinking the whole time, lady, I ain't coming back here. You can't pay me enough to come back here. Well, maybe you could, but it'd have to be a whole hell of a lot. My thing is how good is a 50-year-old trucker gonna taste? You know, the meat's old. You can get a couple of choice cuts, but nothing's gonna be of high quality. So guys, if I was a bloodthirsty pagan god and somebody offered me a grumpy, balding old trucker who hates his life, I'd be like, what? Why are you sending me this? Send this guy back to the kitchen. Yeah, we're gonna need better than that. The woman out in the desert, when she said, I like you, first thing that came to my mind is, how do you like me? Do you like me suffering in your basement in like some kind of a prison? Do you like me like you want to do weird things to me? Or do you like me like Wile E. Coyote staring at me with a bottle of A1 sauce? I didn't think I was going to get out there in one piece, guys. You know, when she's sitting there, standing there with her legs straddled, you know, in that dirt road watching me the whole time as I backed up. And I'm just like, whoa. I didn't know if I was going to make it out of there, guys. Hey, guys, what's going on? Super Trucker Tim here, Comedy and Trucks. You know, one time I've been to Coos Bay a lot, and there's a lot of crime there. A lot of crime. You know, the first time I had gone, a guy who was training me, he said, when you do this route on your own, you're going to have homeless guys come up and mob the truck. And this is not in the book of policy, but just do this. This works. The policy doesn't work. He said, I've got a whole box of stale old donuts. You give them those and they leave you alone. You know, so the policy was stupid. Not going to do the policy. But then I got another idea that I was going to try, because there was a guy who actually got into the trailer. So I came back there, you know, there's a black dude there, and he says, he saw me catch the white dude in the trailer. And so he says, oh, look at that, a straight up bread hustler. And I said, oh, and I suppose you're just a concerned citizen. Well, the white dude comes out, and he said, he toward the back, and he said, I didn't take anything. And I said, let's not worry about the fact that you're in the trailer. Your problem is going to be getting out. See, this is where I work when I'm not working. You know, and I ended up just giving them the donuts, and they left me alone. But the second time I was over there in Coos Bay, you know, I got this really creepy feeling, you know, so I opened up my curtain, because I was sleeping in the sleeper, and I opened up the curtain, and this guy's staring into my window with a ski mask, and he's threatening me, you know, and so I said, what's up, dude? And he says, are you aware that urinating in public is illegal? Okay. Are you aware that prostitution is illegal? Okay. Are you aware that you're parked illegally? So I started kind of like thinking in my head, you know, well, there was a big sign that said no RV parking, but I had permission to park there from the manager of Walmart. So I was good. And then I started thinking, you know what, I talked to a woman earlier that night that was having some kind of medical issue, so I gave her a Snickers bar and $5, and that was all I really had to help her, you know, and she walked off. I had no idea she was a prostitute, and never came back with me anywhere. And then I figured out what he was talking about because I did pee on my tire before I went to bed. So I looked at the guy and I said, oh, okay, well, I got permission to be here. I didn't know she was a prostitute, and I'm a trucker, so I piss wherever, whenever I want to. And he goes, well, I got a taser that says you can't. And I said, oh, the conversation's gotten boring, dude, so I'm just going to admit to you, I've had a 16 gauge pointed at your junk during the duration of this whole conversation. So this third guy walks behind him, just an average Joe walking through the lot, and he says, 16 gauge beats taser, keeps walking. You know, and I noticed after that, word started getting out, guys. I could park my truck in the worst crime area anywhere around Coos Bay, and nobody's started bugging it anymore. Hey, everybody. You know, it's that spooky time of year where everybody likes to put images of decayed corpses and witches and monsters and clowns outside their house. Now the clowns I get, they're the creepiest of all. You know, I'll take a witch over a clown any day, because a witch, at least she might do something sexual to you before she kills you. And I don't want a clown, because a clown might do something sexual to you before he kills you. Every clown is a John Wayne Gacy to me, guys. Don't trust any of them. Just like the story. A clown and a little boy were walking through the woods, and the little boy says, I'm scared. Clown says, you're scared. I'm the one that has to walk out of here alone. But as spooky as that is, guys, my job is spooky at times. Let me give you an example. There was I deliver to a lot of places. Some of them are like dark, dank woods, the kind that you go in but you don't come out. Been there. It's the kind of place where you go in and you'll see a guy there and he'll be laying on the ground acting like he's hurt. I twisted my ankle. Can you help me? Now, it's my advice that you don't go help him. But if you insist on being that Good Samaritan type, just look to the sides for an ambush before you go in there, guys, because their policy is trespassers will be violated. Or at least that's how they do it there. But that's just scratching the surface, guys. I've been to places that are ultra spooky. One time, I was delivering to this very obscure remote island out in the Puget Sound in Washington. And the ferryman, he says to me, well, be back here in 25 minutes or you're going to be stuck here for 4 hours, because ferries just do not come over here very often. So he's like, okay. So I get off, and dude, most beautiful landscaping I had ever seen, and music playing. And I only saw one fish house, and I go look in the fish house, and there's 6 people in there, right? And they all stopped talking, and they all looked at me at once. And I was like ultra creeped out. So I'm just like, okay, ease out, get back in the truck. Now I felt like I was in a Stephen King novel, guys, but I reasoned, nah, your imagination's running wild. Don't be, there's numerous movies of entire communities on a remote island like that, chasing the guy around the island, giving him false hope, and then at the end sacrificing him to some bloodthirsty pagan god. But my imagination's running wild. That's all it is, guys. So I reasoned that. I'm like, I'm going to call my wife. And I go to call my wife, and there's absolutely no cell phone signal at all. And then I look up my window, and I see guys just standing there looking, watching me. And I'm like, ah, crap, I'm in the movie. I reasoned I wasn't in the movie. But when I looked up, I was like, ah, crap, I'm in the movie. But my thing would be this, guys. If you guys are looking for a sacrifice, I'm probably going to walk up to you and say, you know what, if today works for you guys, it works for me. And they're like, well, mostly we're used to people running, when they know they're going to be sacrificed. I'd be like, oh, you don't know my wife. and I hate my job. So you can call me a self-sacrifice. You know, if today works for you guys, and then I walked around introducing myself to people. Hi, I'm the sacrifice. Nice to meet you. And ultimately they decided, you know what, this guy, he's going to taste like beef jerky and Mountain Dew. He's 50 years old, overweight, balding trucker. He's not going to be that great of a sacrifice. Our God is probably going to feel like he's gypped. They didn't just let me go, guys. They threw me off the island. They all voted to get me out of there. It really sucked. I never had a chance. So here I am, still alive. You know, and another time I delivered to this remote community way out in Eastern California, right? And this woman that I delivered to, I finally found her place. And the place was creepy, dude. There was a bowling alley and a burger place. Everything was boarded up and abandoned. The whole town was straight up Children of the Corn type situation. Creepy as all get out, right? So at the end of it, this woman looks at me and she says, well, she's watching me the whole time as I'm unloading the plants for her, like she's gonna slash my throat for a nickel and give me change. But she's looking at me, and she looked just like the lady from that M. Night Shyamalan movie, The Visit. Looked just like her, you know. So at the end of it, she gets right up in my face and goes, "People come out here because we don't like other people, but I like you." And I'm thinking, wow, in what way do you like me? Like, you like me shackled in your basement forever, feeding me scraps of food for some weird fetish? You like me like Wile E. Coyote holding a bottle of A1 steak sauce? How are we talking here? And then she looks at me again and says, "You tell your supervisor, I only want you out here. Nobody else." And I said, "Lady," I'm thinking in my mind, I didn't say it. I said, "I don't care how fat the bonus is. I ain't never coming out here again. You're creepy as all get out. This town is creepy. This whole thing is creepy. I'm out."